Most people over 60 believe decluttering a closet starts with dragging everything out, piling it on the bed, and sorting until your back or knees start complaining. But here's the twist. What if I told you the fastest way isn't about pulling things out at all? It's about putting them back in. This isn't some trendy gimmick, it's called backward decluttering, and it flips the entire process upside down. Instead of drowning in a mountain of clothes, you start with an empty space and slowly choose what earns the right to return. It's faster, cleaner, and, if you've ever struggled with fatigue or limited mobility, it can save you hours of unnecessary work. You won't be wading through maybe piles or leaving your room in chaos for days. You'll be in control from the very first hanger. And here's the best part. You'll see instant progress without feeling drained, even if your energy isn't what it used to be. If you're ready to make your closet feel brand new without the overwhelm, hit that subscribe button and tap like right now, because this one simple shift is a true game changer for seniors here in the United States who want their home to feel lighter, fresher, and more livable today, not someday. Laverne Ashwood was the kind of woman who could remember the title, author, and even the exact shelf location of a book she hadn't touched in 30 years. For decades, she ran the reference desk at the local library in her small Ohio town, guiding generations of readers to the stories and information they needed. She's still sharp as a tack at 72, her mind quick, her humor dry, but her body doesn't move with quite the same speed it used to. A long day on her feet, even if it's just at home, leaves her ankles aching and her lower back tight. For years, she had been battling the same enemy many of us know all too well, a closet that seemed to grow fuller no matter how often she decluttered. Every spring, she'd arm herself with a donation bag, pull every blouse, cardigan, and skirt off the rod, and pile them high on the bed. At first, it felt productive. There was a rush in seeing that empty closet. But the moment she started sorting, the fatigue would set in. The sheer volume of decisions, keep, donate, maybe, someday, was exhausting. And as the hours ticked by, her energy would fade faster than she could make progress. By the end of the day, the bed would still be buried under fabric. Sometimes she'd give up halfway, shoving maybes back into the closet just to clear a path to sleep. Other times, the pile would sit for days, mocking her every time she walked by. She wasn't just tired, she felt defeated. It wasn't that she didn't care about living lighter, it was that the process felt like a battle she couldn't win without paying for it in soreness and frustration. Laverne wasn't lazy. She was practical. And she knew something had to change. She wanted her closet to feel peaceful, not like a looming project waiting to ambush her every few months. What she needed was a way to sort through her clothes that didn't leave her physically drained or emotionally frustrated. A method that worked with her current lifestyle, not against it. That's when she discovered there was an entirely different approach, one that didn't start with yanking everything out, but instead made her feel in control from the very first step. And it didn't require marathon sorting sessions or turning her bedroom into a fabric avalanche. This was the moment her relationship with decluttering, and with her closet, finally began to change. Backward decluttering is a future-first filter. Instead of yanking everything out and drowning in decisions, you create a clean landing zone, a small empty stretch of rod or a single shelf, and invite items back one by one. The rule is simple: only return pieces you genuinely expect to wear in the next 12 months. If it doesn't have a clear date with your real life, doctor visits, church on Sundays, a grandkid's graduation, a winter walk, it waits on the sidelines. That tiny shift changes everything. You're not getting rid of stuff, you're curating what deserves space. Why this works so well after 60? First, your body. Lifting armfuls of clothes, bending over piles, and stepping around hazards is a recipe for sore backs and stubbed toes. Backward decluttering reduces strain because you handle far fewer items at once. Your hands move clothing directly from hanger to the keep space, with no heavy mound to sort later. Second, your energy. Decision fatigue is real, especially when every piece carries a story. By starting with a blank area and adding only sure winners, you make the easiest choices first. Confidence builds, and momentum follows. Third, your home stays safe and calm. No bed buried for days. No trip risk on the floor. If you need to pause for a phone call, a nap, or tomorrow's errands, you can. You simply stop where you are, and nothing collapses. It also respects the way we really dress in the United States, through seasons and occasions. The 12-month horizon naturally covers summer linens, fall layers, and that one dependable winter coat. If an item doesn't feel right for any season ahead, it probably won't earn a hanger. Think of this as library shelving for your closet. The best titles go back first, face out. Maybes wait on a cart. As your keeper section grows, you'll notice patterns, colors you reach for, fabrics that feel kind, lengths that move well. That clarity is gold, because it quietly tells you what to skip in future shopping trips. Have you ever stopped halfway through decluttering because it got too exhausting? Tell me below. In a moment, I'll walk you through a simple sequence that keeps the process painless, how to clear just enough space to start, where to stage your on-deck items, and the small props that make it effortless. A few empty hangers, one holding bin, one donate bag, and a quick time cap so you end feeling successful, not spent. This next part is where the closet finally begins to cooperate with you. Step 1 is where the magic, and the relief, begins. Clear just one section. Not the whole closet, not half the closet, not even a quarter if that feels like too much. Pick a single, manageable zone. Maybe it's the leftmost rod where your jackets hang, the small top shelf with sweaters, or the short bar where pants live. The point is to create a pocket of space that feels approachable, not intimidating. Here's why this matters so much for seniors. After 60, your energy isn't unlimited currency. You need to spend it wisely. Trying to tackle the whole closet in one go is like signing up for a marathon when you've only trained for a walk around the block. It's not that you can't, it's that the cost might be too high in soreness, frustration, and mental overload. A smaller section gives you the satisfaction of progress without draining the tank. When you clear this section, you're not dumping everything onto the bed or the floor. Instead, remove the items from that chosen space and set them aside neatly, on a chair, a small rolling rack, or even a clean section of the couch. This keeps the room safe to move in and prevents trip hazards. You're working with the space you create, not the mess you make. Another benefit? Starting small means you'll actually finish. That's a quiet but powerful victory. When you see that one neat, open section, you'll feel a mental lift that encourages you to keep going tomorrow, or later today if you have the energy. This approach honors your natural rhythm. You don't have to push through exhaustion just to feel done. In the United States, where closets can be large and packed with decades of clothing, focusing on a single section also helps you notice immediate patterns. How many similar jackets you own, which fabrics are stiff and uncomfortable, which colors you no longer reach for. Even before the full closet is addressed, you'll have insights that guide smarter decisions moving forward. Think of it like pruning a tree. You don't hack away at every branch in one afternoon. You trim a section, step back, and admire the improvement. This makes the work not only sustainable but deeply satisfying. And as you'll see in the next step, what you choose to put back in that open section will set the tone for your entire closet, without you ever feeling buried in fabric or regret. Step 2 is where backward decluttering starts, revealing the real treasures in your wardrobe. Hang back only your favorites. And by favorites, I don't mean the pieces you like in theory, or the ones you keep because they were expensive, or because they might come in handy someday. I mean the clothing you've actually worn in the last 12 months and felt good in. Pieces that made you stand a little taller, walk a little easier, and feel more like yourself. Why 12 months? Because it covers all 4 seasons, every holiday, and every life moment you're likely to experience in a year here in the United States, whether that's a summer barbecue, a family wedding, or running errands on a rainy Tuesday. If it didn't earn a place on your body during any of those moments, there's a reason. It might be too tight, too itchy, too dated, or simply not you anymore. This step is simple in action but powerful in effect. Once you have your one cleared section from step 1, start placing back the clothes you truly love, one hanger at a time. The act of choosing what goes back first shifts the focus from getting rid of things to celebrating what you already love and use. It's a mental reset. You're not punishing yourself for past purchases, you're rewarding yourself with a space filled only with winners. Here's where it gets emotional. Sometimes those favorites are the ones you instinctively reach for when you need comfort. Your soft cardigan that's been washed 100 times, the blouse you always wear when meeting friends, the pants that fit just right without fussing. Those pieces carry confidence and ease. And the moment you see them lined up in that fresh space, your closet starts to feel lighter, calmer, and more you without even touching the rest of it. This process also exposes your true style without you having to analyze it. If, after hanging back your favorites, you notice they're all in certain colors or fabrics, that's a clue for future shopping. No more guessing or ending up with clothes that look good on the hanger but don't feel good in your life. For seniors, this is a huge energy saver. By only putting back proven favorites, you cut down on decision fatigue when getting dressed. Every option you see is one you've already approved. No more trying on 3 things before heading out the door because nothing feels right. And here's the quiet bonus: everything left out of that section after this step is, by default, something you don't love enough to wear often. You don't have to decide its fate just yet, but the difference between what's back in and what's still waiting will be crystal clear. In the next step, we'll deal with those maybe items without the pressure to decide immediately. That's where the real relief comes in. Step 3 is where you take the pressure off yourself and let time make the hard calls. Give the maybes a 24-hour hold. This is your safety net for those pieces you can't decide on in the moment. We all have them: the blouse that looks nice but feels a bit snug, the sweater you haven't worn since before the pandemic, the pants you keep just in case you lose a few pounds. Instead of forcing a decision right now, you're going to press pause. Here's how it works. Take every item you didn't hang back in step 2 but aren't ready to part with, and place them in a dedicated container, a laundry basket, a clear plastic bin, or even a sturdy paper bag. Keep it separate from your main closet space, ideally somewhere you won't be staring at it all day. The garage, a guest room, or even just a corner out of sight works fine. The key is that these pieces are now off the stage so your keeper section can shine. The 24-hour window isn't about rushing you. It's about letting you experience your closet without those questionable items in the way. You'll wake up, get dressed, and see only the clothes you love and wear. If you find yourself thinking, "I wish I still had that blue cardigan for today," then it's a sign it might deserve to stay. But if an entire day passes and you didn't even remember what was in that basket, that's your answer: it's time to let it go. Why this works so well for seniors is simple. It removes the emotional tug-of-war from the moment. At this stage in life, your energy is better spent enjoying your day than agonizing over a sweater's fate. It also means you can break up the work into short bursts. No marathon decision sessions. No second guessing because you got tired. There's also a hidden psychological benefit. By physically removing these items from sight, you reduce visual clutter. This creates a calm, clear space that makes getting dressed feel easier, which in turn builds confidence in the process. You're proving to yourself that you can edit your closet without anxiety or regret. And here's the best part: this method keeps you in control. You're not committing to tossing anything right away, you're simply testing whether it earns its place. For many people, that's the mental shift they need to finally release items they've been holding on to for years. Once the 24 hours are up, you'll be surprised at how few pieces you'll actually want to reclaim. Most will feel irrelevant, and that makes the next step, donating, almost effortless. That's where we'll go next, ensuring these clothes get a second life where they are truly needed, instead of gathering dust in your closet. Step 4 is the momentum lock: donate immediately. This is where you make sure all the work you've done so far doesn't slowly unravel over the next week. You've identified your favorites, set aside your maybes, and now you're left with items that clearly don't serve you anymore. The fastest way to ensure they don't creep back in is to move them out right away. Here's the trick: keep a sturdy donation bag or box right inside your closet, not in another room, not in the garage, not in a place you might remember later. Having it within arm's reach turns letting go into a single, fluid motion. Take it off the hanger, drop it straight into the bag, done. No second thoughts, no "I'll decide later," no pile that sits in a corner for weeks. Why this is especially important for seniors is simple: the longer something sits around after you've decided to part with it, the more chances your brain has to second guess. Suddenly you're remembering when you wore it, how much you paid for it, or thinking maybe I'll wear it to the grocery store. Those little maybes are exactly how clutter sneaks back in. By making the donation process immediate, you remove the temptation before it starts. Another reason to act fast? Energy and accessibility. If you have the donation bag ready, you can make small contributions to it every time you open your closet. Maybe you're getting dressed and realize a blouse is itchy, or a pair of pants rides up when you sit, straight into the bag it goes. No ceremony, no delay. This builds a habit of continual editing, which keeps your closet lean without another big decluttering session down the road. There's also a feel-good factor here. In the United States, many thrift stores, shelters, and community organizations are eager for gently used clothing, especially in seasonal shifts. Donating right away means your items are helping someone else sooner, not aging another year in your home. Some donation centers even offer curbside drop-offs or scheduled pickups, which can be a game changer if mobility is an issue. And if you're someone who likes to see a little return for your generosity, ask for a donation receipt. Even small clothing donations can add up for tax deductions, especially if you itemize. It's a practical perk on top of the emotional reward. Would you try the 24-hour hold? Or would you need a little longer? Once that bag is full, tie it up and put it straight in your car, or schedule a pickup that same day. The goal is simple: make sure every decision you've made in this process sticks, so the space you've cleared stays clear, and the effort you've invested keeps paying off. In the next chapter, you'll see how Laverne's story ends, and the surprising ripple effects she experienced from this one small change. Laverne's transformation didn't come with fanfare or a Pinterest-perfect reveal. It came with a quiet sense of relief she hadn't felt in years. Just 2 afternoons, spaced a couple of days apart, were enough to turn her closet from a crowded maze into an open, breathing space. The first afternoon was focused and calm. She cleared a section, chose her favorites, and put her maybes aside without second-guessing. The second afternoon was even easier. Final decisions felt natural, almost obvious. When she slid the last hanger into place, she paused. For the first time in as long as she could remember, her closet rod wasn't jammed so tightly that clothes bunched and snagged. She could slide a hanger with one hand, no tugging, no shoulder strain. The soft swish of fabric moving freely felt like a small luxury. It wasn't just about what she'd removed, it was about what she'd gained. Mornings were suddenly quicker. She didn't have to dig past clothing she never wore, or try on 2 or 3 tops before finding one she liked. Every choice in front of her was a sure bet. Getting dressed felt less like a chore and more like a quiet, pleasant start to the day. Laverne also noticed something she hadn't expected: she felt physically lighter. The process had freed her from a low-level stress she hadn't realized she was carrying. She'd stop at the closet just to admire the order, a simple, calm visual that carried into the rest of her home. One afternoon, while meeting a friend for lunch, she shared the moment that stuck with her the most. "I didn't just make space in my closet," she said, smiling. "I made space in my day." The minutes she used to waste wrestling with clothes were now spent enjoying her coffee, reading a few pages of a book, or calling her granddaughter before school. This wasn't about minimalism for the sake of minimalism. It was about creating a space that worked for her current life, not the one she lived 20 years ago. Laverne realized that a well-edited closet wasn't only easier to manage, it was a reflection of her values now: comfort, ease, and joy in daily routines. And perhaps the most surprising part? The change motivated her in other areas. She began using the same backward approach on her kitchen cupboards and even her craft supplies, each time experiencing that same mix of relief and accomplishment. The closet had been the start, but the mindset had rippled through her home. What Laverne discovered is what many seniors eventually realize: the goal isn't to have less, it's to have what truly supports the life you're living today. And in that way, a lighter closet isn't just a space improvement. It's a life improvement. If you live in the United States, your closet doesn't just serve one season, it works year-round. That's why one of the smartest ways to keep it manageable, especially after 60, is to embrace seasonal rotation. In regions with strong weather shifts, whether it's New England snow or Arizona heat, There's no reason to let every coat, sweater, and sundress compete for space all at once. Twice a year, move off-season clothing into a labeled bin or breathable garment bag and store it under the bed, in a guest room closet, or on a high shelf. This not only frees up prime space but also makes getting dressed feel effortless. You're only looking at clothes you can wear right now. When the season changes, it's like shopping your own wardrobe without spending a dime. Another fresh tip many people overlook is making the most of your generosity through possible tax deductions. In the United States, many thrift stores and charities, like Goodwill, Salvation Army, or local shelters, will offer you a receipt when you donate clothing. Even small bags can add up over the year, and you may be able to claim a fair market value for gently used items if you itemize deductions on your tax return. Important note, I'm not a tax professional, and tax rules change. If you're thinking about claiming donations, check with a qualified tax advisor or visit the official IRS website for up-to-date guidance on your personal situation. Keeping a simple folder for these receipts can save you time at tax season. And if it turns out you qualify, those little slips of paper could make a nice difference in your return. For those with mobility challenges, or even just days when your knees or back aren't cooperating, pair backward decluttering with a sit and sort method. Instead of standing for long stretches, use a sturdy rolling chair or a seat that swivels so you can move along the closet rod without straining. Keep a small table or cart nearby to hold your donate bag, your maybe bin, and a few empty hangers. This makes the process accessible and safe, especially in tighter closet spaces where balance can be tricky. The beauty of these tips is that they layer seamlessly onto the backward decluttering method. You're not starting from scratch, you're simply adding tools that make the process even more efficient and sustainable for your lifestyle. And here's something you might notice once you try these ideas. When you rotate your closet seasonally, you naturally become more aware of what you're not wearing. If a piece sits out an entire season without touching your shoulders, that's a clear signal it's ready for the donation bag. Do you rotate your closet by season, or keep everything together year-round? These small adjustments, seasonal edits, tracking donations, and working in a way that supports your body aren't just about keeping a tidy closet. They're about making decluttering work for you, in your home, in your climate, and in the chapter of life you're living right now. That's what makes the change stick. Backward decluttering isn't about pushing yourself harder or committing to an all-day project. It's about flipping the process so your closet finally works for you. When every item left is something you actually wear, love, and feel good in, your mornings get easier, your space feels calmer, and the stress of too much fades away. This isn't just organizing, it's reclaiming control over a part of your daily life that can quietly drain energy without you realizing it. Here's my challenge to you. Don't overthink it. Pick one small section of your closet, just a shelf, a short rod, or a cluster of hangers, and try backward decluttering today. Remove everything from that spot, and only put back the clothes that truly earn their place. By the time you're done, you'll feel the difference immediately, not just in how your closet looks, but in how you feel standing in front of it. That single, visible win will give you momentum to keep going when you're ready. If this made your decluttering easier, hit that like button, share it with a friend over 60 who's ready for a lighter life, and subscribe to Wise Aging Seniors, because your next chapter should be calmer, simpler, and designed entirely around you.